Welcome to the Dan K Show week. Is this 15? Is it 14? It's 15. Week 15 of the Dan K Show, and we're back together. Last week we had to tape apart, and I always feel lonely, and I just don't sleep the same. I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. Lucas, welcome back.
Thanks.
We're back. And we're back with more after this. Alright, Dan K Show fans, my Dan K-anites, is that what we're going to call you guys? I don't know, we'll work on the name, but let's get into it. Let's start the show like we start every show. Dan K's three things. Thing number one, Thanksgiving break comes to a close, and I talked about it before. Dan K has a great way to kind of break down a junior hockey season. I think a junior hockey season involves 4 teams on your one roster, right? You're going to wind up with 4 teams. Who you are after Halloween when you've eaten all that candy, who you are after Thanksgiving break, and that just happened, who you are when you come back in the new year, when you come back for the first time in 2019 this year, and who you are come playoff time. And this is quarter pole number 2. That makes this the halfway point in my mind. Sometimes play-wise, game-wise, it doesn't work out as the half number of games, but this is really that halfway point in the season where you start to see where the boys are making their changes, where the teams that are going to rise to the top are starting to get ready to make that run. You really start seeing some new faces. And one team that's ready to make a run at the elite level is my thing number 2. Thing number 2, Carson Whalers and Devin Ralph. These young men, 54 and 58 points respectively, lead the elite. Boy, they've been elite from the New Jersey Rockets elite. The top 2 point getters both coming from that Rockets squad. Watch out for this Rockets elite team as the year goes on. When you have 2 potent scorers like this, anything can happen. Carson Whalers having a whale of a time. Devin Ralph is Ralph-tastic. Then we go to thing number 3, the final thing, the Ledenkov twins. And a little Strom Sten Roos. The premier aviators have been at the top of my hockey rankings for the last 20 years, it seems like now. They're dominating, can't stop scoring, can't stop beating teams. And Arkhip Ledenkov and Philemon Ledenkov, the Ledenkov bros there. No word yet on whether they're going to have a new Mario Bros franchise coming out with these 2 guys jumping on turtle heads. But 47 points even apiece, and then Lil Strom Sten Roos at 46. Lucas, I think we can make a fun little wager on the Ledenkov brothers. Who scores more points by the end of the year?
I think I could take that wager. Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I'll take Arkhip. I'm taking Arkhip. I'm on the Arkhip ship right here. This guy is an absolute animal when it comes to scoring. And I got to interview both of these guys after the Rockets game that Lucas, I said, was allergic to because there's too many goals scored because this offense is too potent. But Arkhip Ledenkov, man, this guy's a goal scorer. And I always, you know me, I'm the flashy guy.
And that's perfect because I'm taking Philemon. He's the assist guy. 12 goals, 35 assists on the season. You can't score goals without assists, right? You need those assists. You can do it by yourself, but it's just not as fun. No, it's more fun to get the whole team involved. Philemon, I've got your back on this one.
I'll tell you, it's going to be fun to watch these 2 all season long. And don't sleep on Kevin Lilstrom Sten Roos. This young man, 19, 27, and 46, he may jump the Ledenkov brothers there in the point totals by the end of this season because he is just catching fire. When I got a chance to see him, he was on a point game streak. Guy gets a point a game, guaranteed. And let's talk about this Aviator start to this season. Let's start the show there. I think this is a good place to start the show. You get that Thanksgiving break. Obviously, there were some squads playing over the Thanksgiving break, but a lot of teams with that time off. The Aviators, how good were they in the first couple months here?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really get any better,
no.
Right? You combine such an overpowering offense, with a defense that's no slouch either. These are guys that can match up with a lot of these different offenses in the league. A lot of different types of offenses were thrown at them. They were able to stop them, but at the end of the day, their offense is just so overpowering against a bunch of different teams, a bunch of different styles, different goaltenders, different game plans, different head coaches. It's so consistently overpowering. Sometimes as Yankee fans, we can be hard on the New York Yankees. We say they either put up 10 runs or they put up no runs, right? But the Aviators, they're hitting home runs, grand slams, the whole 9 yards. They've just been absolutely incredible. I think the My Hockey rankings have shown that. I think our own rankings have shown that. And I mean, if you got eyes, if you got ears, you know these guys are top notch.
You really do, and you look at them 23-0 right now, and you wonder how they lose 3. You know, it's the opposite of that saying when it was, how do we win one, right? When a coach goes, 1 in 10, how do we win one? And it's the old Bull Durham line, right? But you look at the New York Aviators, and they're 23-0, and the goal differential is over 100 right now. Right behind them on their tails, though, this is a team I want to make a point to mention right now in this discussion. In the Mid-Atlantic, that second-place squad at 14-4-1 is a absolutely white-hot Skipjacks hockey club team at 9-0-1 in their last 10. This team, guess what? What happened last time Dan K left the Skipjacks out of the Premier Power Rankings? What happened? They went on a 9-game winning streak. What did Dan K do? Left him out of the Power Rankings. What'd they do? 9-game winning streak. The Skipjacks are coming for you, New York Aviators, and I can't wait to see what this Mid-Atlantic division looks like after this Thanksgiving break. It is going to be down to the wire. I think the Skipjacks make it really exciting.
It'll certainly be interesting. I mean, it's comical how good that offense for the Aviators is. You look at some of the numbers, and it's just like, it almost seems like someone made a mistake, when they put the stats into the system. But you know what? We've seen what good defense can do.
Yeah.
You need to score at least one goal. And everything after that is icing on the cake. But if you can't even get that first goal, and you look at that Skipjacks Hockey Club defense, the Aviators might have some trouble with them. We'll see how things shake up. We talked about it a little bit last week on the show and on my Dan K Show Daily, how things really do change as you go through the season. So it'll be something that's interesting to watch.
Good defense. If the Skipjacks can play that good defense, they can take away the oven. Therefore, the Aviators can't even bake the cake to put the icing on with that offense. So we'll see. Let us know what you think at home, Skipjacks or New York Aviators. Whose side are you on in this one? Because it's going to be fun in the Mid-Atlantic. With that in mind, we're going to talk about some fun matchups for this weekend. Coming up next, we've got your Game of the Week breakdowns, previews, and we'll predict at the elite and premier level winners. But since we'll be on the NCDC broadcast, maybe we might not get to predict it.
Want Dan K and Lucas Jones to come to your town? Follow Dan and Lucas on Twitter. Dan at Dan_Komichik and Lucas Jones at LJones1138 # The Dan K Show. Get more of The Dan K Show on their YouTube channel.
All right, hockey fans, we promised it. We're going to give you some of it here now. We're going to break down these Premier, Elite, and NCDC free games of the week. And remember, all you got to do is go on Hockey TV and make that free account. If you haven't done it yet, what have you been waiting for? We're 2 months into the season, folks. Just make a free account. It's free, and you can watch any of these free games of the week. We're going to start with the one we'll be on. Dan K, Lucas Jones, live from Bridgewater. Is it Bridgewater Sports Arena? Which one is the right one here? Bridgewater Ice Center.
Ice Center.
Yes, that's where we're going to be. In Bridgewater, New Jersey. Don't tag the wrong one because there's two in this.
Stop naming your rinks so close together.
That's too close together. We get confused. It's very easy for us to put the wrong thing in the GPS, and next thing you know, Dan K's driven 5 hours away in the wrong direction. Let's not do that. We're going to be in Bridgewater, New Jersey to see Lucas's Bridgewater boys, the New Jersey Rockets, taking on Mr. Flanagan and the Northern Cyclones, one of my favorite coaches in all of junior hockey. This guy is an absolute leader behind the bench. And let's break into this one, Lucas. The Rockets come into this one, a team that was sitting in last place last year in the NCDC, who has been the absolute perfect story of how to do the NCDC, of how to develop, how to make an elite and premier squad that succeeds and bring that talent to the NCDC level and let it shine. And this year you're seeing it with the Rockets sitting in third place with 30 points. The Cyclones, on the other hand, a strong start last year in the NCDC, and now a strong start early this season, has turned into some struggles of late, losing 4 straight here, dropping down to the bottom of the barrel with 17 points, but just a win or two away from going as high as 8th or 7th place. So they can make a huge jump this weekend against the New Jersey Rockets with a solid weekend. They have a little break between them. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, it's an interesting matchup for sure. We always like to talk about things and dive into it before we turn the camera on, but I think it's going to be a situation where the New Jersey Rockets offense is going to have to really try to overcome this Northern Cyclones defense. The Northern Cyclones have had a number of great starts by goaltenders. You've had some interesting kind of goings on in some of these games, or some of these games have not quite gone the way they wanted to, and I think they're looking to kind of take off this short break and come back and then really leverage that break into essentially a new outlook on the season. They do have really good defense. The Rockets have been known, I think, to struggle against some great defenses as well as put up some huge point totals against other defenses. So it's definitely going to be interesting. You talk about the movement as well. You know, last year the Rockets struggled a little bit, and I said it once and I said it again. When you looked at those elite and premier teams, how could you not get excited for what the Rockets were going to bring to Bridgewater and the NCDC this season?
That's very foghorn leghorn of you when you said, I says it once and I said it again. I said, boy, I really like getting on foghorn leghorn on you at home. But what I will do is I'll talk about a guy that will absolutely fight me off camera. This is what happens on the Dan K Show when we tape later than normal. But you got a little William Oliver action. Here's a goaltender I want to talk about the Northern Cyclones. You know, when you have a slower start to the season than what you're expecting, you got to find bright spots. And William Oliver, I am William Wallace. No, it's William Oliver, who's got a 2.63 goals against average. This guy's 6'6" He's also got a .922 saves percentage. The saves percentage is there. The .92 and up, I'm always happy with. When you're in that range, you got a chance to win games. You got a chance to roll off a couple victories in a row just from the net there. So this is a guy who's giving you a chance to compete day in and day out. He's faced 450 shots. He has 488 shots, and he stopped 450 of them. So it's a guy that keeps you competitive. You look at the scoring, there's got to be more of it. There's got to be more of it, and Coach Flanagan knows it. The team knows it, top to bottom. I can tell you every fan of the Northern Cyclones knows it. And this is something where you're going to have to find a way to score. It's going to be find those little openings on the ice. And one place where I think it's going to have to come from is Emil Zaitis while we're up there. Also, Matic Sobota and Christian Thomas. Christian Thomas is a guy that when he gets on, he'll find the back of the net. He'll find his way through. And this guy, 5'8" and 13, is going to play a big role. Lucas, there's going to have to be goal scoring, especially when you play the New Jersey Rockets. You can try to play defensive against them all you want, but you're going to have to find a way to the back of the net. We actually did a Cyclones game last year, as I can't speak either. He's foghorn leghorn. I can't say a sentence right now. But you look at last year's matchup when the Cyclones played the Rockets at the NCDC level. The Cyclones just, all high pressure, kept the Rockets from getting out of their own zone. Kept the pressure high, made it hard to get through the center of the ice, and really just made it a swampland between the two blue lines. And I think the Cyclones are going to have to pull that again this year.
Yeah, it's exactly what you have to do against a team like the Rockets. You know, we saw the Rockets a little bit earlier this year at the NCDC level, and these guys, they've got, whenever they've got 5 men on the ice,
yep,
they've got 5 guys that can skate around you, they can showboat, they can carry the puck from end to end. Even their defensemen are getting involved in some of the skill and speed skating. So if you're the Northern Cyclones, you have to bring that high pressure. So I actually think the key is going to be defensive. So it's going to be the defensemen of the Northern Cyclones that are going to have to get involved. You're going to have to transition very fluidly from offense to defense because you need all 5 guys in the zone. You need to be able to work that high-low game, and that requires the defenseman to be able to pinch the boards if a puck gets away from you. Then you need to transition back onto defense quickly because the Rockets have been known, when they're in their own zone like that, to have guys up by the blue line challenging those defensemen,
yep,
trying to pick off that point-to-point pass. You know, we saw it a little bit last year. We definitely have seen it this year. So the defensemen, I think, of the Northern Cyclones are going to be tested early, tested often, and they're really going to have their work cut out for them against the Rockets.
It's going to be a tough matchup. I talked about this Rockets team actually last week. You talk about the Hennigans of the world, the Mick Hennigans of the world. You talk about the Casey Sontinellas, the Ryan Sorkins, these guys in the top scoring. But I didn't get a chance to talk about the goaltending for the Rockets. And these are 2 guys in Tucker Tynan and Travis Allen who, again, when you succeed in the game of hockey in the regular season is when you have 2 goaltenders you can trust in net. I think back to the Rangers, the year they had Cam Talbot, young Cam Talbot with Henrik Lundqvist, and it absolutely reshaped their season. When Andy Raanta got hot there behind Lundqvist, reshaped that season. And when you don't have a backup you can trust in net, it changes everything for you. It makes it tougher. You know, you saw the Kings when they made a playoff run with some good backup goaltending for Jonathan Quick. And it's so important to have that depth. And Tucker Tynan and Travis Allen, both with a .919 saves percentage for Allen and a .923 for Tynan. These guys both keep them in the games, and they both have an equal 2.80 goals against average. You're in every game when these guys play goaltender. When you're giving up less than 3 a game, when you're stopping 92% of the shots you face, you've got a shot to beat any team in this league, and that's what the Rockets are doing.
Yeah, and it's a situation for the Rockets where they have so much speed as well on the offensive side that they're going to create penalties.
Yep.
Right? So we've talked about on broadcast too about how speed of teams can create penalties, hooking, tripping, frustration penalties, not being able to stop guys. And they are so quick to take advantage of those power play opportunities as well. You know, we saw it a little bit earlier when we did those games, and you look at the power play stats of guys like Casey Sottinella and Mick Hennigan. Sottinella, 3 goals, 1 assist in the power play. Mick Hennigan, left defenseman. The importance of a defenseman on the power play.
Yep.
5 power play assists, 2 power play goals. So if you're the Northern Cyclones, you have to play tough.
Yep.
You have to play fast, but you have to play clean. Because if you give up those odd man advantages, the Rockets are already fast enough.
Yeah.
Don't then also handicap yourself by losing the guy on the ice. So you have to be very careful when you play them, but it's almost a situation where you have to go all out.
Yep.
You can't hold back on a team like that. You have to almost risk the penalties just to try to get that offense going. Because if you sit back, you know they're gonna bring the fight to your end of the rink, and that's not where
you have to dictate the game. You
Yeah,
know, when you play
absolutely.
teams like this, you have to dictate the tempo, the pace, and you have to make them play your style. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, but we can't make a prediction on that one because we'll be on it. It's the Kirk Herbstreit rule, right? When Kirk is on a broadcast, they don't make the prediction on College Game Day with him. So let's go to the premier level where we can make a prediction, and it's going to be a fun one. You want to talk about those quarter poles in the season. This is the halfway point for these 2 squads, the Tampa Bay Juniors and the Florida Junior Blades. And, you know, you start trying to look at it and say, you know, we're going to find our way. We're going to start getting our wins. And this is the day. This is going to be the weekend for these 2 squads. The Tampa Bay Junior squad and the Florida Junior Blade squad, if they want to jump back into this Florida race, they got to start today. Start chipping away at it. 8-14-2 for the Juniors, 6-13-1 for the Florida Junior Blades. Lucas, let's dig into this matchup a little bit. No love lost between these 2 sides. A lot of respect between the organizations, but 2 teams that know how to win, have won for years. How does this one play out for you?
Well, it's interesting. You know, the last couple of games for both of these squads, they've had some troubles, right? You know, you've got the Tampa Bay Juniors who have kind of gone even in their last 10 games, and the Florida Junior Blades a little bit under even win record for their last 10 games. So, you know, both teams struggling to find their footing, but like we said, you do get that small break during Thanksgiving, and we are only approaching the halfway point of the season, so they've got plenty of time. I think it's going to end up being the offense of the Juniors versus the defense of the Blades. I was able to watch the Junior Blades at the Chicago Showcase. Their defense is lights out.
And then how about Patrick Liatava in net? I mean,
that man's face mask has made more saves than some goaltenders in the USPHL. He uses every part of his body. You know, and he's a great kid too. You know, I got to interview him. We're kind of holding on to that a little bit. Now might be a great time to post it.
I'd say you got to get it out there because Patrick Liatava, this young man right now, folks, I need you to stop for a second and listen to this. This guy's faced 463 shots and he's saved almost all of them. He's only allowed 17 goals against. He's got a 1.62 goals against average. The big number you have to look at when I tell you that a goaltender is elite, I tell you he's a .94 and above. This guy's a .963 saves percentage. This is elite hockey from a goaltender who's playing outside of his mind right now for this Florida Junior Blades team. And all they're missing is the goal getting. And Coach Pocock will tell you that. You know, Tia Priest and the great group up there at the Florida Junior Blades will tell you that. They are offense away from absolutely putting this thing together. That goaltender and Patrick Liatava on his own can carry them to a title. This is where we talk about in junior hockey the quarter poles. We are halfway through the season, Florida Junior Blades. Let's find that offense. I know it's there. I know it's in there when I look at this roster. When I jump over and I see Josh Grun there with 7 and 6. I see Sam Storley creating things from the right defenseman position with 11 assists this year. And Tristan Roos with a 3-8-11, another creator. Tomas Brzezina with a 6-3 and 9 start to the season. I start looking, I start going, boys, let's get the puck in the back of the net. Let's get some bodies in front, maybe pick up that physicality, start firing a little bit more from the point, try to create some bad looks for goaltenders and create some problems for netminders. This Junior Blades team has what it takes in net. They have what it takes in the D pairs. And now, if you're Coach Pocock, you do exactly what I'm doing now. You give that rousing speech to those forwards. And you say, boys, let's figure it out. We got it in us. The talent's there. You look down this list, the talent is there. And you want to talk about talent, let's go to the Tampa Bay Juniors as well in the Premier.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Juniors have great defense as well. Their offense slightly more higher powered right now than the Florida Junior Blades, at least on paper. The last couple of weeks, like I said, both teams in a little bit of a slump, but we'll see if they can get it sorted out before this weekend's games. But the Tampa Bay Juniors, I really like their assist game. Yeah. Is what I really like, and I think the assist game of the Tampa Bay Juniors is what really shines for them. Because it comes from organization, right? It comes from the top down. It starts with the head coach, the assistant coaches. It comes from the way you practice. It comes from the way you train. It's guys who are not just able to put the puck where it needs to go, but they're heady enough to understand where it needs to go and then put it there with the skill. I'm looking at defensemen right now. Daniel Duncan, Sebastian Valancourt. Those are two guys, a left defenseman and a right defenseman. No goals, 8 assists for both of them. 2 assists on the power play for Daniel and 4 assists on the power play for Sebastian. These are guys who know what it takes mentally to get it done. They put themselves in the right position, they get the puck where it needs to go.
Yeah, and you look at Schaefer and Loria, Tyler Schaefer and Mark Loria, they're leading the way points-wise, 11 and 10 and a 9 and 8 for the two of them respectively. And the Tampa Bay Juniors team is another team that has what it takes. In their case, it's getting some bodies in front of more shots, giving your goaltender a little lighter workload to work with on given nights. And for the netminders, it's rebound control and it's keeping pucks away from the front of the net and not allowing second chance opportunities, not allowing teams to get the body in front of you. Defensemen clearing out that space, taking control of the net mouth there. And I think both of these teams, the winner out of this weekend, I think can put a huge run together. Lucas, I'm going to predict first just because I feel so strongly about this organization. And you can agree with me on this, you can disagree. We don't have to play it up for the folks at home and just pick differently to have fun with it. I gotta take the Florida Junior Blades. This is a team that's so much better than the record on paper there. You look at the record and it frustrates you. Knowing exactly what they have there on the roster, they have it in them. This Florida Junior Blades team is going to make a run. Put it on paper now. Dan K calls it. Florida Junior Blades Premier is making a run in the second half of this season.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Junior Blades as well. I mean, I think that's where I'm at right now. This team is a lot better than they look like on paper. They struggled at the beginning of the season. They suffered from not having a lot of prep time in the beginning of the season. They had some issues with some ice, and they're fixed now and they're back on the road. But when I talked to the staff at the Chicago Showcase and everybody, they all said it. They said, "Look, we're getting there. You can see it in practice. You can see it in the locker room. You can see it in these games. We are trending upwards." So I think, especially considering that they've had some struggles the last couple of games, you get that break. I think the Junior Blades have this one.
Put your money on Pocock. There we go to the Elite. And this will be the final place we go before we go to the empty net, Lucas, because we have put a lot of time into these little breakdowns, and I like it. This is fun. And if you want us to break down your game, let us know next week. Well, we'll have a little something else to talk about next week. But Elite, we have the Charlotte Rush taking on the Atlanta Junior Kings, the final free game. Just a reminder on times, the NCDC Northern Cyclones at NJ Rockets. It's a 1:30 p.m. Eastern game Sunday afternoon. That'll be us on the broadcast. Premier will be the Junior Blades against the Juniors. We just talked about that one. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. Then this one at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday will be the Rush and the Atlanta Junior Kings. Lucas, this is an interesting matchup. Interesting.
Very. I mean, the Southeast Division is an interesting division to be sure. You have the Charlotte Rush, kind of that perennial powerhouse right now. 104 goals scored. They have the best offense in that division, just slightly ahead of the Hampton Roads Whalers. Their defense also very, very good in that division as well. Goal differential 44. Then you go down to the Atlanta Junior Kings. These guys have kind of become one of my favorite teams in this elite division.
They were at 4th in our elite power rankings. We'll have our new ones coming out soon, but they were 4th in the last month's go-around.
I mean, I love watching Atlanta Junior Kings hockey. They play a great game of hockey. If you get a chance on Hockey TV to watch the Atlanta Junior Kings, or you get a chance at the showcases to watch these guys, even reading the box scores. You look at the way these guys move the puck, and they share the puck. They've got great defense, great offense. It's one of those situations where that division is so closely clumped together that a couple of games in a row could totally reshape it.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Jake Ballway here from the Charlotte Rush, because every time it's so easy to go to the top of the point getters here when you talk about centermen, but sometimes centermen have to play a steadying role. And this is an 0-1 here who's got a big future in the game of hockey. Jake Ballway all the way, 7 goals, 12 assists, 19 points on the year. And then you go to the top of the list and you see Chris Dunn, Christian Roble, Blake Blevins, Marcel Hack. These guys score from everywhere. The points come in bunches. This Rush team is relentless, and they've been relentless since they started playing in the USPHL here. Then you go into net, and Andrew Nagalski, the Polish wonder there between the pipes. This guy's 6-1 on the year. His only loss coming in a shootout, Lucas. 1.98 goals against and a 9.31 saves percentage. Again, getting close to that elite number. Good second half. He gets up closer to that 9.4, and he becomes, oh my gosh, Andrew Nagalski on fire. This Charlotte Rush team, just so difficult to deal with. One of the most unbeatable teams in this league.
Yeah, I mean, for the Junior Kings, it's going to come down to, can they win? Sometimes you say, like, oh, can a team, play some defense and kind of match up? But the Junior Kings are going to have to go and affirmatively, they're going to have to win this game. They're going to attack it. They're going to have to attack this game. They do have guys that can score. Nicholas Garzon, who's got 18 goals, 12 assists, sitting right there at the top 3 power play goals. But again, somehow I always find teams with great defensemen, right? I always find those teams. Andrew Lawrence at right defenseman, 3 goals, 21 assists, 6 power play assists. Defensemen who get involved in the power play, right?
You want to know a number that tells you how good these defensemen are? They have 2 goaltenders. Neither one, halfway through the season, has seen over 200 shots. Neither goaltender has seen over 200 shots, and that's where some of the high goal totals against them, I think, come from, because the goaltenders talk about it all the time. They'd rather see an abundance of shots on certain nights, especially against tough teams like Charlotte, than have the shots come out of nowhere, because the talent on Charlotte, they'll find a way into the back of the net. And when you're kind of in the rhythm of it, when you're saving it over and over and over again, you kind of get more comfortable in that game. But these defensemen, man, they just keep the puck away from the net.
Yeah, and it's honestly great to watch. I think that's why I end up loving the Junior Kings so much. And I think it'll definitely be interesting. It's that unstoppable force, that immovable object.
Well, make the prediction first. You go first. I stole the last one first.
I got to go immovable object.
You're going with the Charlotte Rush.
Oh, no.
No, I had it wrong what you were describing him as.
I got to go with the Atlanta Junior Kings.
Well,
you got to go with that defense. I mean, I'm a defensive guy. You're telling me that I've got goaltenders who are falling asleep? Is that what you're telling me? And you're telling me that I'm not going to pick the team that's so good on defense, and their goaltenders have like the big sun thing, and they get a little lounge chair and net, and they get those LED lights, and they take a little nap back there.
I got 2 goaltenders, in Andrew Nagalski and Luke Fox, who stop the puck for the Charlotte Rush. I've got guys that put the puck in the back of the net, and I've got the Charlotte Rush into a big-time victory here. I think it's Charlotte Rush over the Atlanta Junior Kings. I think it's a 4-2 victory for the Charlotte Rush. I'll even give you a score, 4-2. Rush win it. Empty net goal makes it 4-2 for the final.
I'm going to go 3-1.
3-1. I've got Christian Robel with 2 points in the game. There's another prediction. I'll keep adding to it if you ask me to, but that's a long discussion. We have to move on, and we'll move to the final segment of the show, the Empty Net, our favorite segment. Welcome to the Empty Net. It's time for Lucas and Dan's favorite segment every week when we are talking to you. We're talking to you. It's the Empty Net, and we start with the Chicago Cougars. A pretty cool new setup sent to us by the Cougars there for their workouts and practices.
Yeah, it looks like a state of the art, brand new kind of thing. You got the video up there right now. You see guys taking shots off that indoor ice. You got some sled training, and you know what it is? It's modular. They can set it up for slap shot practice.
That plank form, though, in that video, if you look at the plank form, a little better. You got to get that arch down. You got to get ready to go. You got a perfect plank position. If there's one thing Dan K knows how to do, it's plank.
Pinch the boards and do a plank.
2 things Dan K can do. Let's go to the quick Empty Net this week. We're going to have big time power ranking show next week, so we don't want to tire you out for that one. Quick Empty Net, we go to the standings update for the hashtag Holiday Follow Challenge. We remind you, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, you can vote once on each. You vote by reaching out to us either by direct message or comment on any of the pages, and you say, at Dan K Show, so make sure we can see it, the team you like, let's say Minnesota Mullets, hashtag Holiday Follow Challenge. You do that, it's a vote for the Holiday Follow Challenge. The winner will get a trip from the Dan K Show out to you to see your team. We will take over your broadcast hockey TV style. Awesome hockey TV broadcast. We'll be doing interviews with the guys all day, little background video and organization. It's going to be a real fun setup. We're going to make sure it's a good time. We're going to go all out for you guys with that one. Let's go to the standings update, Lucas. Producer Lena just posted this one out. just to let you guys know, 31 different organizations in the USPHL are so far represented by at least one vote. That's awesome. And that's just in 5 days. We also had over 150 votes tallied so far. Over 150 votes tallied so far. So much more to go. This doesn't end until January 1st. You have so much time to vote. Make sure you get out there and vote. I promise you this is going to be an awesome prize. I'm right now going over to Instagram, Lucas, to find this. And here it is. Let's get into our results. So, in 5th place, the Richmond Generals, Lucas. The Richmond Generals, we've seen both elite and premier votes for them. We're tallying those together, so we'll try to make it out to both here if they win it. Then we go to number 4. How about the Hudson Havoc in number 4 there? Hudson Havoc, they got a hat and a screen. Maybe that helps out with some of that voting. Maybe send in some swag to put on the set here with us. Thing number 3, place number 3, the Minnesota Moose. The Moose. Antlers up, boys. Antlers up. We'll be showing up with moose antlers on our heads if we get that one. Number 2, the Minnesota Mullets. This is the Battle of Minnesota. You better not lose the Battle of Minnesota, you guys. Those two better absolutely be going at each other for the rest of this one, because the Moose and the Mullets, there better be a little rivalry. One of those Minnesota teams has a chance to win it. Then finally, number 1, who would have guessed? The New Hampshire Junior Monarchs have absolutely taken control of this thing early. A strong start for the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs, and they're holding on to the lead. How do you feel about these standings so far?
Well, some surprises, some not surprises. I'm excited to see these teams from Minnesota getting involved. Not surprised that the very vocal and very well-known New Hampshire Monarchs fan base is getting involved.
They are very, very vocal, Lucas. They always seem to be vocal. We love to kind of deal with these guys and work with them. It's going to be a fun kind of race to watch as this season goes on here, as I try to get up the rest of the standings. So I want to just look at some of the teams on the cusp. I'll tell you, some of the teams just on the outside looking in right now. The New Jersey Rockets, just barely out of the top 5. So think about that. You guys are in it. The Twin City Thunder, Lucas. The Dells Ducks. How about the Tampa Bay Juniors? Lucas and I getting a suntan out there when we go out there, possibly. How about PAL 18U? Just the 18U alone is in the race right now in the running. And the Hampton Roads Whalers and Rum River Mallets. Those are some of the teams just outside of the top 5. So anybody's ball game here. Everybody has a chance.
I love that some of the top teams are either the coldest, darkest places in the northern United States or Tampa Bay, Florida. You couldn't pick 2 places more unlike each other in probably, what's going to be the end of January or February.
But that is exactly what makes this USPHL so great. It makes it so fun to work with because there's just so much representation, and you hear a lot of things around the hockey world, right? And you'll hear a lot of things that are true, you'll hear a lot of things that are false, you'll hear a lot of things where people are kind of touting some things that they haven't really researched, I think, in the game of junior hockey from leagues all throughout the country and places. But what I will tell you is this league, it cares about creating the athlete from the ground up, from cradle to college, and creating the best athletes in the world. We have fun working with it. We have fun helping promote the players that make the league so great, because without the players and the parents, this league is nothing, and the Dan K Show is nothing. It is absolutely fun to work with you guys. Lucas, parting words. Let's hear them. I'll translate that for Lucas in his Foghorn Leghorn accent and say, I said nothing. That's what he's going to say there. He says nothing. I didn't get on a laugh with a Foghorn Leghorn for the second time, but what I will say to you is when Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night. Please get out there and vote. Hashtag Halle Follow Challenge. You have until January 1st. If your team wants us to show up, all you got to do is 25 guys in a roster. Each guy can vote 3 times. That's 75 votes. I know you guys, a lot of people don't have the Facebook anymore, but get on it for a second. Vote on the Facebook so you can get 75 votes just from your roster alone. Let's go. Let's get competitive with it. Let's make it work. Again, congrats to the Monarchs for being in first place after week 1. Next week, Power Rankings week.
It's not anything like Foghorn Leghorn.
You sounded like it in that one moment. You sounded like Foghorn Leghorn. And Lena, producer Lena, is giving the head shake. Boy.
You guys have to agree with each other. That's part of the deal.
That is not right at all. We disagree all the time. She's shaking her head yes again. We disagree.
But she's agreeing with you about disagreeing, though. So that's agreement.
That wouldn't be agreement, right?
That is agreement.
No, she said it wouldn't be. We have disagreed.
Now she's disagreeing about agreement, which means agreement is null, which means I'm right.
You know, once we get into double negatives, I have to take a nap.